Today I am answering your questions. The first of which is someone wanted help with the spacing of the eyes and the nose when drawing a portrait. When you're starting off with a generic portrait, so not looking at a picture for reference, you want to start with the shape of the face, and then I'm dividing that face shape in half vertically and horizontally. And as you can see, I'm measuring out where the eyes will go on the horizontal line that's dividing the face in half. And then now I'm dropping down to where the nose is going to go. So now I'm looking at the bottom half of the face between the eye line and the chin. Somewhere around halfway, so where I'm marking, is where the nose is going to end lengthwise. So those first two measurements were for where the bottom of the nose will sit, and then these vertical lines that I'm dropping down from the corners of the eyes and a little bit wider set as well, that's the range for how wide the nose will be. So these are all measurements for where the nose is going to end up sitting in just a moment. And here I'm just measuring one more time, halfway between the eye line and the chin. That range that I've established, that's where the nose is going to rest. Now I'm filling in all of the measurements that I've just made. So corners of the eyes, I made the arches for where the eyes go, and now this range that I was talking about, that's where the middle part of the nose is, the smile part. And then the sides of the nose go between the vertical range that I established. So the parentheses are the sides of the nose. And then I'm just doing a little bit of detail work to fill in the rest, but I hope that makes it a little bit more clear as to what the relationship is when you're drawing eyes and noses. And now I'm going to answer the same question, but when drawing from a reference picture. So here's my reference picture. I'm not starting out with any sort of measurements and guidelines because I am referencing this person in particular. So not a generic person anymore, but the person in this photo. So I'm starting out just drawing the nose, and then from there, I will take measurements based on what I have to figure out what I don't have. So now I'm looking at the nose. If you look at the corner and pull it up to the corner of the eye, the side of the nose is a little bit wider. So I'm establishing that now in my drawing. So this is where the corner of the eye is going to be. So figuring out the relationships based on the information I already have, which is the nose. So the corners of the eye, that's where those dots are representing. And now I'm taking another little measurement, so across the nose, because I've already drawn that, that distance is not quite to where the eye line is going to be. So I was just showing you that one more time. Now I'm taking another measurement. I already have where the corners of the eyes go. Now that distance is actually the same as the distance from the inner to the outer corner. So again, I'm using the information I have to figure out the size relationships that I'm trying to draw for my next feature. So it's a little bit technical to think about, but with a little practice, hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense. And then after I have those little measurements, I'm looking at the picture and figuring out what the angles of the lines I'm drawing need to be. And then figuring out some details, so the eyelids, and again, looking at my reference photo because I'm trying to make this picture look like the person in the photo. And then last bit of advice that I'll give you, when you're drawing the iris, the colored part of the eye, figuring out how big that needs to be, it will be a little bit easier if you focus on the shape of the whites of the eyes. So if you look at the picture on my phone here, the white part of the eye kind of looks like a triangle or maybe a shark fin. So look at that shark fin and try to get the same angle in your drawing, and it will help you to get the iris the correct size. And then last little bit I'm filling in is the area I can see where the shadows are on the bridge of the nose. And then from here I would draw the rest of the portrait. Hey class, so I wanted to pop in and finish answering the questions. I only got one that I felt like I could really draw to explain, so I'm just going to explain the rest right now. If you chose to do the pop art project, it's a very broad prompt, which means there's a lot of ways you could answer it with a picture. So, briefly, pop art is about popular culture. So, at the time the art was being made in the 50s and 60s, they were using things from their popular culture. So, you'll see pictures of Campbell's Soup and Marilyn Monroe and shuttlecocks from badminton and cakes and things that were in their everyday life. You can pull inspiration from pop art from the 50s and 60s and draw things that are similar to those objects. Or this person's question was, can I make my pop art comic about objects from today? I'm going to show that I'm not very relevant in trying to come up with these examples. So you could draw something that's like a Snapchat filter. You could draw something from Fortnite. You could draw, I don't even know who's cool, Billie Eilish. You could definitely pull from pop culture today, or you could pull from like the original pop art movement and pull from their pop culture of the 50s and 60s. Can I color my origami? Yes, absolutely. If I ever have a project and I don't show you like the coloring option, or if it's looking like it's not quite done when I'm showing you like my end result, it's because I don't know what you have at home. So I don't want to show a bunch of fancy materials that you don't have access to. But if you, to answer that question, yes, you can color your origami. You can color any of your projects that I give you, even if I don't show you ways to color them. And in the coming weeks, I hope to have a few more coloring based projects. Last question, can I stylize my portrait? Yes. The way that I'm showing you to do things is not the only right way to do things, the only way to do things. It's just like one version of how I am trying to very simply show you a project. So if you ever feel like you don't want to make a project that looks exactly like mine, I would actually prefer that you make your project look like you've made it, make it in your own style. I hope I've answered all of your questions. The last thing that I wanted to point out is when you are taking a picture to turn in your project, please consider the lighting. The place that I'm filming this right now, a window is right behind the camera, which means the lighting is very good. But watch what happens when I turn around so that the lighting is behind me. Please, please consider lighting when you're taking your pictures, okay? Oh, I'm gonna fall over. See how much better that is, guys? Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thanks.